Okay, welcome guys. We have an update to the assisted living facility. Actually, a lot of updates. Um, Let me see here. We've got a general formatting update. I updated all the number formats so you can see now we've got dashes for zeros instead of zeros. That's basically the update on that throughout the whole model. Debt schedule update. This is the biggest one. So before, this was for development or acquisition, so you can put your monthly costs in here if you're developing or constructing. If it's acquisition, you just put in your costs on the month the cash is leaving, and then that would flow to the pro forma, and there would be a cash flow calculation based on everything, and then that would be subject to financing based on this debt schedule where you could put in there was inputs here for percentage of negative cash flow financed and amount of cash flows to take into account. That was a little bit too. It worked okay, but it wasn't perfect. Now it is literally perfect for any situation. So now what you can do, I had to add these calculations down here for each section. This calculates the percentage of the cost that is financed based on the inputs you put up here and if it is even financeable or not. For example, you might be buying all the land with no financing, but then building and constructing, you might be able to finance. So each one has an option for yes, no, for financing or not, and then the percentage that is financed. Okay, so now this total is what populates this draw. And that's it. There's no other limitations. It's just anything that's financed goes right into here. If you don't have, if it's not an interest only loan and it just starts, you can zero out the interest and you can put one here, and you can see this just flows right to the P&I. Now this is saying there's draws over time, so obviously you can't be drawing on, this would just be P&I, so you could hit this. The P&I starts when the draws are done in month 7, and then it just flows to a regular P&I loan. Okay, so the logic is much cleaner now for the debt. And I'll show you on the monthly detail where this happens. So the monthly detail, this is the actual total cost of all of your acquisition, development, construction, land, everything is up here. Then you've got operations happening. And then down here, you can see this is the financed amount that's pulling from the acquisitions where we are doing all the logic. And then you can see cash flow from all operations, EBITDA, startup costs, CapEx, the financed amount, and then if you scroll down, here's your loan proceeds from the draw. Here's the cash flow after debt service, and then you've got taxes and exit proceeds, and then you've got final cash flow. So the part that's better now is this, how we're figuring out what we can actually take a loan, what we can actually add to the loan, and how it gets added and what is not financeable. So it's a lot cleaner. I've been really thinking about this for a while, so I'm happy to get this updated on the assisted living facility model. All I've done is add to the flexibility and widen the use case. Other updates we did, OpEx cost is dynamic. So here, let's say you start in year 2023, but you don't actually open until 2024. Well, in that case, your staffing, your starting monthly salary might not be in year 1. You might have, it might be in year 2. So whatever starting amount here you put will fill in the start year based on this month number. You can see if I choose a month in year 1, this start month will now go to 1. If I picked one in, let's say, year 3, this number starts in year 3. So that before it was just automatically applying whatever this was to year 1, and if you weren't starting until year 2 or 3, it would already be increasing that cost, even though the cost hadn't really started. So that's a little bit cleaner logic now as you update these. Same deal with the other costs tab. These other operating costs, fixed expenses for the assisted living facilities work same way. So if I were to have this start way down here, this updates and the net cost flows to the pro forma. Okay, so that was updated. What else? Oh, waterfall. So the optional waterfall is if you have a joint venture with IRR hurdles, you've got contributions and distributions of the whole project, and then the amount that the investor does is just based on these two, which is driven on the global control, based on the percentages that the investor versus the GP contributes of the total cash required, which is driven on a cap table, which we did updates here too, which I'll go over after this. So now this flows down. You can see it goes through all the waterfall hurdles, and you get distributions over time. There's the refi happening, and then here's the exit. I summarized this into an annual detail with a visual because before this did not exist. You just had a monthly cash flow waterfall. So now if you are choosing the optional cash flow waterfall, you can see what it looks like on an annual basis and with charts. Note you're not tied to this either. If you want to define this as a different percentage split based on the required contributions, you can just change that here and that will update because this is dynamically pulling from this number here. So you could adjust that if it's something different. Okay, there was that on the cap table. I didn't change any logic on the cap table. We did some formatting updates here. There's also an annual summary that already existed down here, so that's fine. But what I did is just adjust default so it's 100% to common shares. I zeroed out class A and B, so you just have essentially an overflow that goes to the LPs based on any contributions that are required beyond what the GPs are contributing. And then their percentages here would populate. And then I updated some of these calculations down here to be remaining. It's a little bit easier to follow. So that's a little bit cleaner. What else? Anything else? Visualization. So I updated the distributions tab. I just updated the formatting here. This did exist before, but updated formatting. Other than that, everything else works the same. The biggest thing here is that it's just a lot more. It's a lot easier to build in your use case or your scenario with this style of acquisition or construction costs happening. So you can literally define if each row is financed or not and what the percentage of that is. And it's a lot cleaner now because this is the only thing that's going to be subject to financing. It now doesn't have any connection with the operations like revenue expenses. It's the only thing that can go into the construction loan or P&I loan is from here. Okay, I think that covers everything. I'm going to do the same update. I have two other models that use similar logic to this style with the construction. It's the mixed use real estate model and the what's the other one? The mixed use and the hotel acquisition or development financial model. I believe that's all of them that use this kind of logic. So they're all going to get the same upgrade. I believe it's really nice. It's a really nice flow, but now it's just easier to handle. And the debt schedule is easier to manipulate. Let's put an interest rate back into here. Whoops. Yeah, I think this is a lot more functional. And remember, make sure in E3 you're putting the start month that the draws actually happen because you might not start drawing until month 4 or 5, which is fine. Just make sure that this starts in 4 or 5, and then the interest only period is going to go from there. And that will just be dependent on when you're putting the cost into this schedule. Alrighty, well that's all I got for you on this update. I'll do the other update videos separately. Remember, check out more financial models at smarthelping.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video, and I will see you guys later. Oh, and this is part of the industry-specific financial model bundle as well as the real estate financial model bundle. And those are, I think, $310 and $299 respectively, or you could buy this separately for $75. All right, see you guys.